Hello, everyone. Welcome to the panel discussion during Kentico Experience Connection 2022 for EMEA region. Today, we'll be discussing digital experience maturity or digital maturity, if you want. First, let me thank to our gold sponsor of this panel discussion, our gold partner, Kielhaus. Thank you very much for supporting Connection. Now, let me introduce you my guest speakers for this panel discussion. I have here four gentlemen. First, Delphine Vassalo, Marketing Director at Uponor. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here with you.
The second guest speaker is Jan Havel, Co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer at Actum Digital, our gold partner. Welcome, Jan.
Hi, and thanks for having me.
The third speaker is Jan Řezáč, CEO at House of Řezáč, the design and research agency. Hello, Jan.
Hello, nice to be here.
Last but not least, Dominic Pinter, Managing Director at Kentico Experience. Hello, Dominic.
Hello again, Inda, and hello again, everybody. Glad to be here.
Great to have you for this panel discussion. I believe we will have really interesting discussion, and I believe there will be really valuable insights for our attendees. So let's jump in it. My first question is about the digital maturity or digital experience as such and your experiences with it. Yeah, digital experience maturity refers to a level of sophistication in measuring and delivering the digital customer experiences across different touchpoints. That's the definition. Yeah, we can also call it digital sophistication, or as I already mentioned, digital maturity if you want. It tells you how successful you are in adoption of different digital marketing, digital commerce, and digital customer experience tools. It can be measured on a company level, department level, or even on the personal level. So you can measure your personal digital experience maturity, your department digital experience maturity, or your company maturity. In today's world of rapid digital transformation, growing digital experience maturity is said to be crucial for your survival, and it's a key element of business change and business success. What is your personal experience with this concept, and how important is it for you, your companies, your business personally nowadays? And let me start with Dominic here to start answering that first question. Dominic, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jan. And we already touched this topic a little bit during our Q&A. And for those of you who attended, I said something related to the unified DXP and why we believe this is the best approach for our target segment. And let me just quickly expand that and put this into relation to our digital experience maturity model. So basically, what we try to achieve with most of our customers today is to really do this exercise with that model to really show them where they are. And typically what we find is that those customers today are not fully leveraging everything what our tool, what our unified DXP solution can offer to them. And therefore we can guide them and recommend them what are the next steps and how they can actually move forward on the digital journey and what might be possibilities for them to actually get more sophisticated while actually still, using our platform. Because the reality is that many of those customers, they have at the beginning maybe some ambition, like how to actually, let's say, start or how to really use the model and how to not just model but entire platform and how they can really grow from in our model from that small town or the hamlet over to mega city, but they typically get stuck somewhere in the middle because they get tired after the first iteration and after getting the project out, and they simply run out of energy at that point and they get stuck. So and this, I believe, was one of the key reasons why we developed that model, to really be able to continue in that conversation and really try to show them what could be the next step. And even though that next step might be really small one, really like small increment. Yeah, so that's I guess for me at the beginning, or as I enjoy.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Dominic. You mentioned the ambition at the start, but then getting stuck somewhere, yeah? And this is like connected also with the planning. So I would like to give the word to Delphine Vassal, because Uponor is our client, and they recently introduced some like replatformization and new projects, new websites. So what's your current experience with planning the digital experience maturity growth, Delphine?
Well, it's quite a journey, and I believe that's how, well, most of companies should take it. This is not just get the technology, push the buttons, set it, and off you go, and forget about it. This is a journey, definitely, that we have to go through. We have to learn from. And now that that Dominic was talking about sophistication, well, yeah, how sophisticated, how mature you are in the digital journey. The way I say it is in two aspects. One is that you have the technology in place, the right technology that is good for you, for your needs, and yeah, you plug and you push all the buttons. That is all good. But then that's only 50% of the success. The other 50% of success is the people in front of the computer using actually the tool. Your technology is as good as the people using it. And that's what I have realized, not only at Uponor, in previous companies where I have been, mostly, well, 5,000 employees and above companies, even up to 100,000 employees, that if there's not this balance between good technology, but also the people leveraging that technology, the whole thing goes down. You may be sophisticated, quote unquote, because you have big pockets, big budget, and you purchase the best in class technology. But what about you people? You have the right people with the right mindset, adopting new processes, new paths, and truly using the technology as it is intended. So that is, well, in my opinion, that's the part of the journey where I have seen most of companies dropping the ball, to be honest. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Delphine. Yeah, I really like the part with the right people, right mindset, and I believe we will get back to it. And I see Jan Rzezacz is actually wants to react to maybe to that or to other part of your answer. So Jan Rzezacz, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I would definitely like to expand on Delphine's answer because I see it all the time. Because we need companies in our business to be at least somehow mature, and we need them to have the right mindset. Because most of the time it's not about or only about the technology, but about the mindset which shapes how we do stuff, how we think about stuff, and how we manage it. So most of the time we need to assess this mindset and ask questions such as what types of goals is the company chasing? How do they decide? How do they focus on the customer? Or what metrics do they use to improve their decisions and get feedback from the actual customer? And when we see, and sometimes we see it, that they are focusing on outputs over outcomes, that they are driven by the decision of the highest paid person opinions, they consider their business department as the universal customer and the only source of truth, or they judge the quality of the product, how their actual business like it, not how their customer use it and how it changed their lives, then it's not a very good stage. But anyway, it's getting better every year.
It's a good thing, yeah. It's getting better every year. Yeah, let's hope that it's going to continue. I have one quick follow-up question for Jan Rzezacz before we go further to you guys. That part you mentioned that they have to have at least some level of maturity. So is it the way that you see that if they are not at least on some level, they can't actually start growing? So is it really like there has to be some level at the beginning to start the project, to start actually thinking digital experience maturity, or can you start from the zero?
That's a good question. From my perspective, no one is at zero level right now because there are many people in the company and they are on different levels with their mindset themselves. But what I meant actually, that if you want to work with us, with our company, we need you to be at least on some level of maturity, because otherwise we will talk something and you will hear totally another thing and it won't work actually. So we most of the time help customers to become better in thinking about digital experience, about the processes and mindsets that are around it, so we can grow together actually.
Thanks, Jan, for answering the follow-up question. And I see Jan Howell wants to react, and we will definitely get back to that output and outcomes part of that.
Thank you. And I would like to elaborate a little bit on what Dominic said in the beginning, that actually there is little progress in some clients that implement a big project. They kind of exhaust all their energy or resources, and then it stalls. And really, the maturity model might be a good tool to show the path. Really, and my experience is exactly that it really does show the path, but it's really 10 years of experience. We've built our first maturity model maybe 2012 or 2013, and it's not enough. I mean, it's showing the direction, but it's not enough of a pressure to move forward. And there are multiple reasons. If you look at a bigger customer, for instance, you do the assessment, and everybody wants to do the assessment. But imagine you have 3 divisions, and 2 of them are really advanced, and 1 is really lagging behind. How do you communicate it to the client? Do you like point to them and say, look at those guys, they know nothing about digital maturity. And you already have an enemy and you have a big problem. So already at the beginning, the tool is a double-edged sword. But also later on, and that's what Jan mentioned, without a good strategy that goes beyond the technology, the real strategy of business. How do you want to develop your business? Who are your customers? How do they communicate with you? It's just, it's basically just the model is just a tool that tells you what is possible, but it will not do the prioritization for you. You really need to pick out of all options to move forward in digital maturity. You need to pick some, and that the model will not give you an answer. So sometimes I felt it's, the value of the model is overestimated. It really needs to go hand in hand with business strategy.
You really are right, Jan, and we will definitely elaborate on that. I see Dominic wants to react. See Dominic.
I would combine what basically both Jan said, because to me this exactly goes hand in hand with this output versus outcomes. Right? Because once the company has the clear outcome, clear direction where they want to go, then actually this model can serve them very well on telling them what is really the next step, right? Like first helping them realize, this is where you are right now, like as those maps in the shopping malls, right? Like you are standing right here. And then actually this is the path forward, right? But you definitely need to have in your mind that understanding of what really is your business objective, right? Because and it goes a little bit also back to that sophistication, because definitely there are also companies out there, right, who still today are just happy with just having a website, right? And these are definitely those customers which we honestly, even here at Kentico, we can't serve them well anymore, right? Because if somebody doesn't have any purpose for that website, right? They just want to have like the address on the internet, right? It's very difficult then to really direct them into right direction, right? Because they just looking at that output, like I want to have, fancy flashy website, but that's about it, right? So there needs to be something, there needs to be some business objective, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that actually you need to sell your goods online, right? Because it might be that actually you want to inform, you might be non-profit organization and you have some members, let's say, and you want to inform them when there is a next event for your members, right? That's the business objective. That's the purpose, making sure that everybody can read that, right? That everybody gets the information. But there needs to be always something, and then actually, you know, this model, and then also the platform as ourselves can kind of model can guide you, and then the platform can help you to achieve that through its tool set.
Thanks, Dominic. And that leads me to the question to Delfin, because Delfin is actually representing the client side here. So can I ask you about like the way, how you do it in Uponor to really connect the business goals, the outcomes, yeah, with the outputs? That means like digital strategies, digital tactics, because this is the important part, what actually like other gentlemen right said. So how do you do it in Uponor?
Precisely, you said it. That is the most important piece. So you have to be clear inside, I mean, in your business, what you want to achieve, what is the type of experience, there you go, the digital experience that you want to provide to your customers, because that's what they demand. If we have certain type of, let's call it buyer persona, yeah, now we talk about marketing. So what this or that buyer persona are expecting to get from my website or from all the online services that I am providing. Am I delivering them? Am I delivering the value? That is, I mean, kind of table stakes. That's from where we should start. And then the second part is, yeah, we marketers, we love to track everything trackable in the websites, from visits to consumption, to conversions, to every single number is nice. But sometimes not, because not everything that can be measured matters, and not everything that matters can be measured. So that's what you have to acknowledge, that, yeah, there may be many things, but everything is important. And in the end, what I have to take up to the CEO is not, look, we increased 30% the number of visits. Good. What about, how do we pay the bills with visits? No, what I need to tell to the C-level is, we increase the revenue of this product or this service by 10%, 50%, whatever. So that's what that is the final outcome that the executives are expecting. How do I do it? How do I mix and match all the things? So that's, of course, that is our job in marketing. So definitely the one single thing that we are trying to drive is to present the executive level. First, we are driving revenue, and this much revenue. This is the number. Second, if we cannot get the actual number of sales, because, well, we have pretty long sales cycles, very, very long sales cycles, years even, then we go for qualified opportunities, because they take a while, but that's already something more tangible. And in terms of money, the money is, well, because we are here, we are a for-profit company, of course, we are here to make business, to make the company profitable, and that's how we have to show it to the executive level. Yeah, I would say that's it. That's the ultimate or the only goal that they care about. Easier said than done. Yes, it's not easy, but that's why we are here, and that's why we need the right technology. There you go, right technology that empower us to do all this mix and match, and then we can achieve what we want.
I would add to what you said also, it's about the alignment within the company. If you have the outcomes, if you have the goals, you have to have the alignment that everybody actually is going the same direction, like sales and marketing aligned, yeah, customer success or support, yeah, or in your case, some like technical guys, it has to be aligned to go the same direction. But I see Jan Havel wants to react, so yeah. I hope I didn't steal your reaction.
No, not at all. Thank you. I would like to expand a little bit on Delfin's linking of the business goals and what we are doing with the maturity model or with technology in general. And that's something I see frequently when we approach clients that, yeah, there are these business goals. They're somehow broken down to digital goals, concrete objectives, and we link what we do to those numbers, basically. But I wanted to point out there is another part that we call something like fundamental transformation. So you are getting ready with technology for unknown future, for something you cannot measure. I mean, who do you have a client who planned for COVID, but actually having a technology that's flexible enough to quickly adapt to situations like COVID? It's part of our job. So when I say linking what we do with strategy, it goes beyond the goals that have numbers attached, but also to the foundational work of getting ready for the unknown future.
That's a great question. I will see Dominic, so I'll give the word to Dominic, and then I have a follow-up question for all of you.
So thank you, Anna, because Jan, you said something which really resonated with me, and I believe that this is really well connected with what we try to achieve with Kentico Experience, which is unified DXP. Because this is really like the way how we think about this platform is really to try to prepare you for your future, whatever that future might be, right? Because that's why for me, like, you know, it's very beneficial, or the way how I look at that is that for the clients, it's very beneficial to have strong platform as Kentico Experience, because then you have really tool set there ready to go. And we've seen, especially during COVID, there were companies like, for example, amusement parks, where they originally just had really just the website, right? The information for the visitors and stuff like that on our platform. But as the COVID hit and they, for example, had the obligation to start tickets online, they were able to very easily, you know, switch from standard, you know, ticket desks over to the internet and started to, you know, sell these tickets online, because our technology, our platform, allow them to do that. So I just wanted to point out, like, once again, this power of that unified DXP, because this is exactly where I believe, you know, this type of software or this type of solution could be very beneficial to anybody, because you have the tool set there ready, waiting for you, you know, and once you have that need, you can start fulfilling that need.
Thank you, Dominic. I would like to connect a few things that were already mentioned in the discussion. Yeah. There was said that the model actually shows the path, yeah, the direction, but there's not the pressure, yeah, to actually moving the direction. That was one thing that was said here in the discussion. The second thing was about not measuring actually the outcomes and outputs, but about being prepared, like in the long term, to some fundamental transformation, yeah, that is connected to potential pressure or changes, or we can call them black swans, yeah, from outside. Yeah. And there was already one black swan mentioned, that was COVID, yeah, coming to the business 2 and something years ago. Yeah. So I would like to ask you, yeah, how important in your eyes are actually these like black swans, yeah, external pressures to that fundamental transformations, to the digital transformations, yeah, or is it the way that basically the pace is like similar? Because we heard a lot that COVID really strengthened the digital transformation, made it quicker. But is it the case? So what do you see on the market? Is it really the way that COVID and other external pressures increase the push on the fundamental transformations or not? What are your experiences? I would like to start with Jan Řezáč here, yeah, then we will continue. Jan Řezáč, the floor is yours.
Thanks for the topic or the question. The thing is, what we are experiencing right now is sometimes called VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, which means a lot of changes are happening in parallel. So as Dominic mentioned, and as Jan mentioned also, it's quite important to be able to be agile enough to and I do not want to say agile as Scrum, but agile as business agile, which means I can change my direction quite quickly and respond to the change. And also, if I have enough situational awareness about the environment I'm interacting with, I can also do some, let's say, strategic moves to change myself and make profit of it.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jan. I see second Jan Havel wants to react. So Jan.
Yeah, yes. Also sharing experience from the client relationships. It's around COVID, but actually it's around any kind of crisis or such a big unexpected event on the market. When it hits, it's too late for fundamental transformation, because then you're really in a crisis mode. You need quick fixes. You do quick and dirty. So actually the times like COVID reward the ones who had been preparing for potential situations like that for maybe years, actually. That's about example, it's architecture, really. You can architect things in a way that really they are difficult to change, things that are difficult to repurpose. Or you can add a little more investment upfront if you're building solutions so that they could be repurposed. And when the need comes, you just almost switch a button and do a different thing. But almost universally, when the crisis hits, nobody is willing to discuss 2-3 year transformational projects. They want the fix in a week.
Delfin, maybe that's a good question to continue with you. So how prepared were you in Uponor, and how you cope with this crisis?
We were not prepared, to be honest. Yes, so what Jan was saying is very true. If you don't have this culture of innovation, this culture of constantly learn and evolve, or learn and adapt, what Jan Reza was saying, that's how I call adaptability. So no matter a war comes, COVID comes, a hurricane comes, whatever, you can really adapt your process and continue being operational, number one, but not only surviving, being operational, but still keep doing business. Yes, this whole COVID thing struck. We were forced to be digital, use all these digital tools. Salespeople, instead of going knocking doors and shaking hands as they do, and they establishing those one-to-one relationship as they should. They are very good at doing that. Suddenly they are locked at home. Like, how do we do this now? How do we put this human connection? How do we establish this relationship with my potential customer through this channel, through this little dot here that we have? And then when they need to learn, they need to adapt their existing skills, human relationship skills, personal skills, to the digital world. It took some time, but now I guess we are doing it pretty well. Yeah, still now, hopefully when we can come back to meet face to face, it feels much better. You value really that. But I guess that it all comes down to this adaptability. And that comes into the company's culture. It should be baked in there, otherwise, so you better start to do it now, to put it in your, bake that into your company culture.
That's a great answer, and I love the mention of really the culture and changing how people are interacting, because that's basically the most difficult part, I believe, of any transformation. I see Jan Havel wants to continue.
Thank you. Basically, I wanted to stress what you've just said, that when we think about the foundational changes, technology is the easiest thing to change. I mean, it takes years anyway, but it's processes that are more complex, and it's people's mindsets, the skill sets that take ages to somehow transform. And now hitting COVID, even at Actum, I mean, we had a certain client portfolio. As Dominic mentioned, we also do segmentation, so we know who is our typical ideal client. But when COVID came, even this relatively like homogeneous group was suddenly very much different. There were companies badly hit by the COVID who needed completely different approach than companies that were actually striving and wanted to quickly scale their operations. Some needed changes, and really it is readiness of your organization, not just technology, to start reflecting on the sudden changes in your portfolio. Of course, then if you want to communicate, well, then you need more personalization in your communication, right? You need different content for different types of customers that suddenly appeared on your market. To do that, well, you need content processes that are ready to produce multiple alternatives of your content in multiple languages. You're marketing guys, so you know what it takes to do that. If you're not ready, the technology will not save you, and that's when the maturity model comes in. It tells you what you should be getting ready for.
Exactly. Dominic, I see you want to react, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, I would have probably a question back to Jan and Delphine related to this, because one challenge which I see, you know, especially in the time of the crisis, and especially when you are not ready, right, is how to really secure that budget. Because for me also, you know, like making that next step in your maturity or sophistication typically requires, you know, somebody get out of their business as usual and, you know, really take some additional budget or even additional people and start to do something unusual, right? And in the time of crisis, this might be like quite challenging. So like, what's your take on that? Like, how do you like, you know, did you have any struggles into, you know, really, I would say, starting to focus on this innovation or transformation? Like, I guess, Jan, in your example, it's more related to working with the clients than Actum itself, right? But then Delphine, how did work at Uponor?
Let's start with Jan, if we can, and then go to continue with Delphine. Thank you for the question, Dominic.
Yeah, it's a brilliant one, because it really is an issue. The budgets are always an issue, and I would give you two examples of successful and unsuccessful situations. We are working for together with Kentico for on a large distributor of construction materials in the Benelux region, and they were struck badly because they had to close all their shops, and really, while they wanted to quickly jump on the e-commerce train, they knew it's not going to happen within months, simply because none of their backend processes were ready for fulfillment in e-commerce and everything. So for them, it was really cutting the cost, making sure their people are taken care of, and somehow surviving a couple months. And there was just no way to persuade them. They said, even if we have the budget, we don't have people to be taking care, to be cooperating with you on the e-commerce project, simply because we have so many other topics on our tables. So just pointing out, it's not always just the budget problem. We were able to just show them business case, and they would be willing to pay, but they wouldn't be able to support us in that project. On the other hand, we have a very successful case of a company I cannot name for confidentiality reasons, that has a long history on the market and has been through many crises already. And they know certain patterns, that the demand for their service follows the same pattern in each crisis. It goes down, and towards the end of the crisis, when optimism kicks in, it actually more than compensates what they lost. And it was rather a straightforward discussion to show them, look, this is no other crisis. The pattern will repeat again. So in 1 year, in 2 years, you will be experiencing a big increase in demand. And either you invest now, or you leave that increase for your competitors who are already investing. So kind of showing the competitor that they're investing, and you need to be investing as well, because otherwise you come weaker out of the crisis, was the factor we used in that successful case.
Before I give the word to Delphine, Jan, Havel, you mentioned actually that the company knew that there's like always the same traction, and like they will actually get back and after the crisis. So how big portion of the clients are able to see so far?
I don't have like a percentage for you, but certainly, especially the companies that have longer history, and that's sort of companies that we work for. We work for companies with decades, sometimes even hundreds of years of history. So they see even the world wars, they see all big changes, the oil crises, the dot-com bubbles. They've been through all of that. And also the people have been around in that company for maybe a decade or more. So their planning is a longer term type of planning. Of course, if you're a startup or an innovation hub of a bigger company, well, your planning is 2 years, maybe 3 years, and then it's completely a different story.
It's really about the culture, company history or memory, let's say. Let's get back to Dominic's question and give the word to Delphine.
Yeah, talking about old companies, I mean, my company is more than 100 years old. Definitely the product that a company started producing and selling 100 years ago is not the same that we currently sell. So that's embedded, I guess, into the company culture, this constant innovation. Anyway, to one thing that Jan haven't mentioned, the technology is not going to save you. No, yes, you have to get the bottom line done. You have the right mindset, the right tools to continuously drive this revenue. Now, you want to innovate, you want to get more sophisticated, you want to push, to move, to have this more advanced stage. Okay, then is when you can request money. As long as you have secure your bottom line, your normal operation, and you are driving the revenue, then you can go and ask good or more or less well-shaped business case, or maybe no business case, it's just believe me, because, well, maybe the bosses trust me, trust my gut feeling, but they will trust my gut feeling as long as I have secured the minimal operation that is profitable and is growing. If that is not done, forget about getting more money for any innovation, any transformation that you want to drive. So get the basics done first, otherwise it will be pretty difficult to get more budgets.
I know Dominic targeted the question to Jan Havel and Delphine, but since like you are both part of, let's say, Kentico experience community, you are the partner, you are the customer. But Jan Rezach is representing here actually, like, let's say, external expert, yeah, not the partner, not the customer. So like, I'm interested in your answer, Hanzo, to Dominic's question about like the budgets and how to really get to clients about this in the really the crisis. So Jan Rezach, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think we are all seeing that it's quite important to invest before the crisis hits. That's the first thing. So you can use the digital maturity model as a tool for investment before the crisis. But when the crisis hits, well, we have experience with clients that, let's say, made some kind of leap of faith and invested anyway, even in crisis. And well, it was in COVID last time, and now with Ukraine coming or being hitting us full speed, we saw that when they invested in right parts of their business, the business grew even when there was a crisis. So I return back to the situational awareness and the importance of working with right models, because they help you even when crisis hits.
It actually leads me to the question, gentlemen. Let's try your crystal balls, right? So Jan Rezach mentioned that it's about like invested into the right part of the, let's say, company business. I would like translate that investing into the right part of digital experience maturity. Yeah. So where do you see you and other companies in watching right now the Kentico Experience Connection event? where should they invest right now? Which part of digital experience maturity they should invest right now to actually be prepared for any kind of next crisis, yeah, in a year or two? Because yeah, right now, even with the Ukrainian crisis, the war in Ukraine, this is here. This is not the future. That's the present. So what's the, let's say, next step? Where to invest to be prepared for any kind of next crisis in 1 or 2 years? So Jan Rezach, you started that. You brought me to that question. So you can start with your crystal ball first.
My crystal ball says, well, check your maturity and then act. Because everyone is on different stage. And that's what this model is about. But anyway, if I would suggest one thing, then invest in really knowing your customer, because that always works, and we can always understand the customer better and always think how to create value for them better. So that's my take.
I would translate that to the customer intimacy that Dominic actually mentioned in our keynote. So the second, like, I will give the word to Dominic. So what's your crystal ball saying?
Yeah, I really like the Jan's answer. Understand your position, know your customer, and then figure out a plan and execute. What I would just add on top of that is make sure that you are ready, and that actually whatever you need for the execution in better or worse times, you have that. Whether it's technology, whether it's people, processes, in the calm times when not much is happening, make sure that actually you are prepared and you can really, switch to that plan and quick execution once, the next crisis comes.
Thanks, Dominic. Delphine, what is your
Two things.
opinion?
I would definitely agree in invest in getting to know your customer better. Yes, that's the absolute number one, and I'm surprised that many people in marketing still don't do it. Get to know your customer deeply, better than anyone else in the company. Marketing should know the customer better than anyone else in the company. And second, invest in anything that makes your customer feel good. That is your insurance policy for the future, no matter what crisis. Make your customers feel good, and they will always remember you despite whatever crisis comes.
Thanks, Delphine. Jan Havel.
It's always so difficult to come last in these predictions, right? Now, I would add another perspective, and that goes back to adaptability, flexibility, and that's, again, practical from our own experience and experience with the clients. When you look at the maturity model, there are things, the activities you can achieve, the topics. Make sure to get for the crisis, potential crisis, make sure that you're decentralized as an organization, that you can achieve those things within a single person. Because what I sometimes see, that even sending out an email takes 5 people. One approves, the other does this and that and that. When the problem comes, you don't have the luxury of coordinating 5 people. You need to make sure your technology, such as experience, is there to be handled by one person, and the whole end-to-end process ideally can be achieved by one person anywhere on the planet, in any team, anywhere. And that's kind of another type of building readiness for the uncertain future.
That brings us back to Unify DXP, I guess, as introduced by Dominic and Maciej Stefani during the keynote. Anyway, this was more like, and sorry for that question, gentlemen. Yeah, I know it's hard, but let's come back more to the ground, to the specific tactics, to the digital experience building. Yeah, what are actually the current parts of digital experience maturity you are investing or planning to invest in upcoming, let's say, months? Yeah, because we mentioned, and it was already there, yeah, that did mention here in this discussion, that digital experience maturity, it's really like a journey. Yeah? It's it's a journey. You have to plan correctly. You have to have right people, right mindset, right tools. Then you have black swans coming into that, yeah, changing all the plans, yeah. So this is all like really high level, really nice. But right now, what are the parts of the digital experience maturity of building digital experiences for your customers, as was said now, that you are planning to invest, or you see your customers are planning to invest really right now in upcoming weeks and months, yeah? To get back to the ground, to the basics, to the tactics. So what are these plans? Jan Havel, let's start with you, yeah, and with customers of Actum Digital.
Okay, thank you. Now, out of the many things, one that is common to very many is they look not only at the tools, the DXP that is there to actually manage the experience, but actually how the assets and the content that is in the end pushed out to the channels, how it's produced. So they're building maturity in ability to produce more content that is more personalized, available in multiple languages, that is reused so that it's efficient. The assets are, yeah, you can find assets in your organization, you can reuse them. And that's the first step, is understanding in your organization how this content is being produced and what tools can be used, integrated perhaps with the DXP, or be used out of the box with the DXP to support that process. I'd give you an example of a client in Switzerland we are working with. Yeah, we've implemented some great things like the website and all those channels. All that was good, but actually we hit the very strong bottleneck of technical content, because they are a manufacturer of some highly innovative stuff and they want to be selling globally. And interestingly enough, their clients don't want to talk to salespeople. They want to talk to technical people. So they also want to consume technical content on the website. But if you only have one top guy in research and development, well, you want that person to be in the lab doing the research and development rather than writing articles about research and development. So suddenly you hit this bottleneck of not enough very highly specific expert content. And at that moment, our task is how to make sure the very few pieces of content that are available authored by this guy are reused in as many contexts as possible. So that's one of the, if I summarize, one of the aspects we see is actually looking at what's in it, what kind of content and assets you have in your digital platform and how to use it more.
So it's still valid that content is the king, yeah, right?
Yeah.
But it's about the right content for right people, yeah, in the right channels. So that leads us back also to the multi-experience and all this stuff, yeah. So this is, let's say, the future. What do you see within your customer portfolio?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the future, and also it's the current pain that once they've invested in some parts of their digital platform, they're realizing this is holding them back. So now we are telling them, the new clients, come on, you need to do both things. Build your DXP maturity, and at the same time, look at your content/asset, digital asset processes, so that you don't come into a situation when you have one and miss the other.
Okay, so I will continue with Dominic in that case, because obviously, like, he was covering part of that little bit in his keynote. So Domenico, what we see in Kentico experience as the next steps?
So I would actually turn this question back to you, because you are the leader of our digital marketing team. So tell us, what are your plans, and where you think you are on that digital maturity level or that scale, and what are your next steps?
Okay, nice turn. So let me think about the answer and pass the word to Delphin and Jan Řezáč, and let's take me as a last person to answer that question. So Delphin, now what are your plans in upcoming months?
I guess what we have, or we are trying to do already, is following a consistent, very simple mantra, if you want, or a strategy for all the tools all the things that we are doing. We want to be easy to do business with, and in concrete, for following the path of the buyer's journey, easy to find, easy to spec, easy to buy, easy to install, easy to maintain, easy to recycle. Now I call it 6 easies. Clearly, the first 3 ones, I mean, is easy to find, easy to spec, easy to buy. Well, it's on me. It's on our online property. Come on, if we cannot make our online website, our website to be found easily, well, then we are we are out of the game. So these 3, they are particularly the ones that I am looking. Yeah, making it easy for our customers. Making things easy is actually very difficult. It's very difficult to do it. Simplify things. And yeah, that's in the path that we are. And I always like to say, complexity is the enemy of revenue. So make things easy always, and get the tools that help you make things easy for your customer. That's where we are.
Okay, Jan, what do you see within your client portfolio before we get to our plans in category experience marketing?
Thank you. The thing is, every client has different constraint or different bottleneck, let's say. But one of the trends I see right now is that we do much more experiments than we did, let's say, a year before or 2 years before. So we understand really quickly if the solution we thought about is working or not. If it really changes the behavior of the customers or of the fans or the people working inside the company, which depends on the type of the project. But we ran experiments and find out quickly if it's good or not. So that's the trend.
Thanks, Jan. And to answer Dominic's question, what is planned in category experience marketing, right? So I see actually our marketing to be somewhere between town and city in our digital experience maturity model. Yeah, with the different areas, but this is where we are right now. And I really love that part where we were talking about the alignment, because obviously for us, it's about alignment between marketing and sales, because we are a B2B IT company. So our goal in marketing is to support our sales. So basically all the next steps are connected with understanding better the customer and trying to understand actually the customer's needs, understand what's the stage of their, let's say, buyer's journey. So understanding that buyer's journey there, and help actually sales to get the right lead. So if you are in the right stage of the buyer's journey and you are reading our content, we should be able to understand where you are and to lead you to our consultants and our salespeople. If you are not in the right stage of the buyer's journey, you're just like exploring, etc. You are like checking other type of content. You should not be bothered by sales guys, obviously. So that combination of really understanding the buyer's journey, understanding the signals, understanding the customer's needs, delivering the right content, especially like actually Jan Havel's answer here, delivering the right content and in the right steps of the buyer's journey, and being able to support sales is the ultimate goal where we want to improve in our marketing. And yes, we are then using tactics like AI personalizations, chatbots, and like chatbot, for example, is one of the things we want to introduce on category experience. But these are really like the small tactics. On a high level, this is the goal for category experience, obviously in cooperation with partners in partner co-marketing. So that's the answer from myself. And I see we have 5 minutes left in the discussion. So last question. If I would ask you about what's the one most important thing, to really keep in your mind, to really understand, to basically like take from this panel discussion, for our customers, for our partners, about the digital experience maturity, what would be that one and only takeaway? And I will start with Delphine here.
And now you got me thinking. I was going to be the first one. I would say, prepare your people. Prepare your people. Inject that mindset, that growth mindset. So any crisis, any new tool, any whatever will be easier. Get your people into growth mindset.
I love that. Thanks, Delphine. Jan Řezáč, what's your advice?
I would advise you to focus on the right goals. Definitely outcomes or customer outcomes, not only outputs. So it's important to do stuff, but it's more important to do stuff that really matters to your customers.
Thank you very much. Jan Havel, what's your takeaway?
Perhaps another way of expressing what Jan already said, don't fall in love with the maturity model. It's a tool, it will help you, but ask yourself why, always ask why.
And I love that. Yeah, even we have our own model, obviously, it's just a tool. It's always just a tool. So I love that. Thank you very much, Jan Havel. Dominic, what's your takeaway?
I would say keep going. Like whenever you are on that journey, just don't be satisfied with that and try to ways how you can move forward. And even if you are doing really tiny steps forward, it's better than just stopping and not moving at all. So always try to find a way how to innovate, how to move forward, how to keep going.
Journey. Yeah, don't stop. It's a journey. Thank you very much, Dominic. So with that last takeaway, I would love to end this panel discussion. First of all, let me thank all of my guest speakers here in the panel discussion. Delfin Vasalo, Marketing Director at Uponor. Thank you for being with us, Delfin. Jan Havel, co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer at Actum Digital, our gold partner and platinum sponsor of Kentico Experience Connection. Thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you for having
Jan
me.
Řezáč, yeah, thanks. Jan Řezáč, CEO at House of Řezáč. Thank you very much, Jan, for joining us. Last but not least, Dominic Pinter, Managing Director at Kentico Experience. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, everybody.
Also, thanks. Also, let me thank Keelhouse, gold partner of Kentico Experience Connection 2022 and the sponsor of this panel discussion. Thank you very much for supporting this event. And with that, if you want to continue the discussion about digital experience maturity, I will be sitting in the networking lounge at the discussion table after the end of live stream. This is the last information from myself. And now I pass the word to Hanka Molíková to end the first day of Kentico Experience Connection 2022 for EMEA region. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice rest of the day and have a nice rest of the connection.